All right. So, got our slow flow today. And so we're going to start out however you want to. Seated, reclined, child's pose, whatever sounds best to your body to check in with your breath. And as you make your way there, just kind of notice where you want your arms and legs to be. Once you feel settled in, we'll close our eyes as we start to tap into our ujjayi breath, inhaling and exhaling through the nose. Taking this time to connect with our breath, which will be our energy source throughout our practice. So as we inhale, feeling the space right below the navel start to lift. As it draws upward, we'll feel an expansion in the belly, the side bodies, the rib cage, and that breath draws all the way up to where it lifts the collarbones. On our exhalation, we're going to feel our belly button draw in towards the spine, which will allow us to use all three parts of the lungs. And our ujjayi breath is an audible breath, so we're going to hear a snoring-like sound in the back of the throat, kind of like we're fogging up a mirror with our nose. And let's create a rhythm where we inhale to the count of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhaling 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And just continuing with this rhythm, knowing that you can always add or subtract any counts from this. And while you're focusing on your breath, we have been talking about the chakras. We are in our 5th chakra, which is the throat chakra. Also encompasses our neck, our jaw, our shoulders, our mouth, our ears. Our 5th chakra is responsible for things like expression, communication, authenticity, listening. It's associated with the color bright blue or turquoise, so you might envision that color coming from this area of the body at the 5th chakra. The affirmation that coincides with it that we've been talking about this week is I choose authenticity over approval. So we might inhale the words I choose authenticity. Exhale over approval. And feel free to utilize that whenever you like. I'll also be referring to it throughout our practice. On our next inhale, we'll find some movement. So just depending on where you are, that could look like different things. If we're on our back, maybe it's a full body stretch, reaching the arms up overhead, extending the legs out in front of us. If we're in child's pose, we might walk our hands from side to side. If we're seated, maybe we start to make some little rocks with our torso. And then either from our reclined space or from an upright seated position, we'll all bring our hands together at our heart center in our Anjali Mudra, tucking our chin under as we set our intention for our practice today. So that intention might be utilizing our affirmation of I choose authenticity over approval, or whatever resonates or speaks to you in this moment. Please honor that. And we'll take another big breath in here. Exhale, let it go. And then when you're ready, we'll start to open up the eyes. We can bring in some movement with our breath. We're going to be meeting in tabletop position, so no rush to get there, but we'll make our way there when you're ready. And just kind of see what's going on as you come into this space, maybe finding some cat-cow movements or some lateral movements. I make some little circles here or get into the wrists. And just notice what your breath is doing as you start to bring in movement. If you started to hold the breath at all, can you turn it on as you inhale and exhale through your nose? Take another big breath in wherever you are. Exhale. And then we'll find our neutral spine in our tabletop position. We're going to bring those knees slightly back so that the hips start to lower. We're going to come all the way onto our bellies, bringing the chest in between the hands. That's our inhale. On our exhale, we're going to push into the mat, rounding the upper back like cat pose all the way into our child's. So we're creating our vinyasa by inhaling as we come all the way forward. Nice long inhale. Exhale, pushing all the way back. Nice long exhale. And just move at your pace. So maybe close your eyes, just moving in a way that feels good to you. And no rush, but we'll meet in our child's pose with our toes tucked. So getting a nice little stretch in the feet, maybe finding a bit of a wiggle from side to side. And when you're ready from the space, we'll make our way into our first down dog of the practice. So you might keep a bend in your knees as you draw the tail towards the ceiling. Maybe moving those hips from side to side, or maybe start to bicycle the legs right away. And notice what your breath is doing as you come upside down. If you started to hold it, can you turn it on as you inhale and exhale through the nose? You can always have a slight bend in the knees as you draw the tail up towards the ceiling. And we're pushing our chest towards our thighs. Our gaze goes past our legs. Big breath in. Exhale. On your inhale, shift it forward into your plank or push-up position, nice and strong. Keeping a long neck as you gaze at the top of the mat or slightly past it. Feeling that weight go into the base of the fingers so you're not sitting near the wrist or the heel of the hand. And then as we exhale, push it back, down dog, lifting up those hips. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, we shift it forward, plank pose. And on our exhale, we're going to slowly lower onto our bellies for 5, 4, 3, 2, on 1. We'll come all the way down. Tops of the feet come into the mat. Hands are underneath the shoulders as we lift up into our cobra pose. And exhale, we'll lower. And just start to move through these at the pace of your breath. Changing up anything you like. I like to come onto my fingertips in a wide stance and then incorporate some shoulder dips here. And next time that the forehead lowers, go ahead and make your way back into your down dog, lifting up those hips. And then we'll walk our hands to the back of our mat. So hands come to feet. Make sure those feet are at least hip distance apart or 2 fists in between. And maybe we find opposite elbows, reach, or maybe bring the arms behind the back. So whatever feels good to you. But keep shifting that weight forward, so coming towards the balls of the feet. And feel free to bend those knees as much as you like. Also notice what your breath is doing as you come into this shape. You started to hold the breath at all? Can you turn it on? Big inhales and exhales through the nose. One more big breath here. And then as we exhale, release that arm variation. Start to toe heel your feet in towards one another. And we can soften those knees as we roll all the way up to standing. Soon as our head lifts, let's reach those arms up overhead. And we're going to interlace the fingers as we bring them back behind the head. Elbows are out to the side. So kind of push back into that basket that you're making with your hands so you can open up through the chest, the shoulders, and the upper back. And as we exhale, we're coming kind of into a cat-cow motion. So bring those elbows in as you round the upper back. And we'll just find a rhythm that feels good in your body. Inhaling as we lift, exhale as we close. Next time that you sit back into the hands, hold it here, lift up your gaze, breathe into this space. Exhale, bring those elbows together. We're going to come all the way into our forward fold. So getting some traction in the neck here. Maybe we keep our hands there for a moment, just kind of find a little bit of a sway from side to side. Inhale. As we exhale, release your hands down. Fingertips can come to toes, our hands to shins as we lengthen halfway. And then we'll exhale into our forward fold. Bend the knees enough to place your hands onto the mat. Bring your gaze forward. And walk it all the way into your plank or push-up position. Super strong. Inhale. As we exhale, we'll lower. We can come all the way down, or maybe we hover chaturanga. Inhaling into your cobra or maybe up dog. Exhaling into your down dog, lifting up those hips nice and high. Taking a full breath in. Exhale. And then go ahead and lift up your right leg. We're going to open up that hip, heel to behind, knee up towards the ceiling as we work the left heel down. Stay right here. Start to make some circles going in one direction. As you inhale, we'll straighten that leg. Exhale, knee draws to nose. We're going to bring that foot all the way through for our runner's lunge. So you might have blocks to each side of the foot. And we'll start to shift forward and back from our runners to our pyramid-like pose, just creating some space here in the backs of the legs. Feel free to hang out anywhere or lower that knee down, but just moving with your breath. Next time that we shift it forward, we'll hold it here. And we're going to start to bend that back knee as we move into Skandasana. So we're going to go from side to side, just moving at your pace. So it could be higher up. Maybe those hands are at heart center. If it's lower, you might walk your hands from side to side or bring the hands to heart center as you move at your pace. Next time you're towards the blue wall or towards the top of your mat, we'll hold it here. Maybe we find a twist, or maybe we walk our hands forward, or maybe we just hold it, just depending on how your body's feeling right now. Big breath in. As we exhale, releasing any variation that you have, and we're going to face forward in our runner's lunge. From here, we're moving into our wild things. We're going to pick up that forward foot and bring it behind as we come onto the ball of that foot to reach in the arm overhead. And maybe we hold it here, or maybe we find some movement like making some circles with the right arm, bending and straightening the legs. Inhale, reach it up. As we exhale, lower the right hand down and lower the right knee down. Coming into gate pose as we face the mirrors. So left leg stays extended as we lift up the torso. And right arm will come overhead, or maybe you bring that hand behind the head. So as you bring your head back, you feel a little bit more opening along the side body. One more breath in. As we exhale, release that hand down. It comes to the top of the mat. So we're now in supported side plank. So this is one option. And we're going to be moving to the top of our mat. So this option, we just swing the left foot forward. Not right now, but in a moment. If we want to come into fallen triangle, push into your back foot and extend your right leg. And maybe find some movement here in this fallen triangle pose. Yeah, we'll reach up through those left fingertips. In that fallen triangle, maybe you bend that back leg and take a step over. Otherwise, you're swinging that leg, so then we all bring our right knee into our chest as we come into one-legged mountain pose. So as we reach those arms up overhead, bring that leg up, flex through the foot, and then draw it towards the center line to find more stability here, keeping your gaze straight ahead. One more breath here. He's really inspecting. Exhale, find your way into your funky chair pose. We're going to bring that ankle above the knee, sit it back into your heel as you reach the arms forward like you're driving a car. Maybe your hands come to heart center. Maybe you rest those arms onto the leg. Or your blocks have 3 different heights if you want to come into a forward fold kind of variation. You just want to make sure that you're shifting that weight back. And the more that you flex through this foot, the more you're going to feel that engagement in the outer hip. Maybe let your head relax. One more big breath in. As we exhale, step it back to your runner's lunge. And then from this runner's lunge, we're going to come into a twist. So left hand is up. Really push the floor away so that you're feeling those fingertips draw up towards the ceiling as you stack shoulder on top of shoulder. Inhale. As we exhale, lower your back knee down and lift up the torso. We're coming into the supported exalted. So right arm reaches up overhead. Left arm either comes down or we can wrap it around the outer part of that right thigh. And focal point could be past your shoulder or maybe up towards your fingertips. One more breath in. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down. As soon as those hands plant, push into the mat to bring your knees together so you're not scraping the mat with your foot of that knee. Okay, so for the next part, I'm going to show it to you first because it's kind of confusing while in motion. But we're moving from thread the needle into bridge pose. You're like, okay. So we're going to be lifting up the right arm, and we'll thread that arm underneath. As you do that, just know that whatever side you're looking at is the same side as the leg that's going to be extended. So we can extend it by having those toes tucked under, or we can lift that leg up. From there, we either tuck and we bring it to the outside, or we lift and we bring it to the outside, continuing to tuck that shoulder underneath as we come onto our backs. Let's try it. It was nicknamed Timber earlier this week, so give it a shot. We'll reach that right arm up, tuck it underneath the left shoulder. Once you have that, extend through your left leg, maybe lift up that leg, and then bring it to the outside of your right as you continue to tuck that shoulder under and come onto your back. Yes, and you will be off your mat. There you go. So we did it. And then bring your arms down by your sides, palms face down. Feet are on the mat. We're moving into bridge pose. Sort of lift up those hips. As we lift up those hips, we can start to walk those shoulder blades in towards one another. Lionel, this is not make out time, okay? He's like, I like this position.
I'm open to it.
Take one more breath in. As we exhale, slowly lower it down one vertebra at a time. And then we'll bring our knees into our chest as we start to rock and roll forward and back. We're eventually going to meet in standing at the back of our mat or mountain pose. Yeah, and then from that mountain pose, we're going to bring our hands behind our head, interlacing those fingers, sitting back into it as we open up through the chest. Exhale, we close, and just start to move through these a few times on your own. Next time you sit back, open up, bring your gaze up. And then as we exhale, bring those elbows together as we round the upper back, coming all the way into our forward fold. We'll release those hands. Fingertips can come to toes or hands to shins as we lengthen halfway. And then plant the palms. Keep your gaze forward as you walk or float back. Option to take your Vinyasa if you'd like, or you can go right to your down dog. And as you come into your down dog, if you know that you want your blocks at where your hands are, go ahead and move them from the top of your mat to the back. And then we'll reach that left leg up towards the ceiling, opening up the hip, heel to behind, knee up towards the ceiling. As we bring that right heel down, starting to find some circles going in one direction, going in the other direction. Nice. We'll inhale, straightening that leg. Exhale, knee draws the nose as we bring it all the way through for our runner's lunge. Maybe with our blocks there as we start to shift forward and back, moving at your pace. Paying attention, because one side may not be the same as the other side, so just listen to what each side needs. Next time that we shift it forward, we'll hold it here. And we're going to move into Skandasana, so start to come into that side lunge towards the front of your mat and going from side to side. Next time you're towards the back, we'll hold it here. Maybe find a variation. If that's in your practice, a twist, a bind, walking the hands forward. Big breath in. Exhale. And then we're going to face the back. We're in that runner's lunge, moving to wild thing. So be mindful of all the blocks around, but we're going to bring that left foot behind the right leg, coming onto the ball of the foot. So we lift up, either holding it here or making some circles with the arm and bending and straightening those legs. Inhale, we lift up. Exhale, lower your left hand down and your left knee down. We're facing the mirrors again for Gait pose. So right leg's extended as we lift up the torso, reach that left arm overhead, or bring that hand behind the head as you breathe into that side body and allow yourself to sit back into the hand. One more breath in. As we exhale, lower that hand to the back of the mat. So again, we're set up for that supported side plank, reaching that right arm up. Option to stay here or to come into your fallen triangle pose, extending that left leg, maybe finding some movement here. Inhale, lifting up. If we're in that fallen triangle pose, on our exhale, we bend the back leg, take that step over, or we're swinging it to the back. And then we all bring that left knee into our chest as we come to standing, reach those arms up overhead for one-legged mountain. Drawing that knee towards the center line of the body. Inhale. On the exhale, finding that figure 4 shape. So bringing the ankle above the knee, sit back into your heel. Arms can reach forward. You can come to heart center. You can have the arms onto the leg, maybe find a forward fold with or without blocks. Inhaling. Oh yeah? Exhale, step that foot back for runner's lunge. We're moving into a twist, so left hand is down, right arm reaches up, opening up towards the mirrors. Really pushing the floor away to reach up towards those ceiling tiles. Inhale. Exhale, lower that back knee down, lift up the torso for our exalted, so left arm reaches up overhead. Inhale. Exhale, cartwheel those hands down, making your way into your tabletop position. Now's the fun part, right? So left arm reaches up, opening up towards the painting side of the room. And then we're going to tuck that arm underneath. Same side as we're looking, so we extend the right leg this time. Toes are tucked, or we lift up that leg. And then we bring it to the outside of the left as we continue to tuck the shoulder under, coming onto our backs. Nice. Once we make our way to our backs, we'll bring the soles of the feet onto the mat. Hands are face down as we come into our bridge pose, lifting up one vertebra at a time as we push into our feet. Maybe walking those shoulder blades in towards each other and maybe interlacing the fingers underneath. Noticing the rise and fall of the belly. One more breath in. Exhale, slowly lower it down, one vertebra at a time. And we'll bring our knees into our chest as we rock and roll all the way up to our standing position. Working those shoulders up, back, and down. Hands come behind the head as we interlace those fingers. Inhale, opening. Exhale, we close. We'll just move through that a few times on your own. Next time you open, hold it here, breathing into that space. Exhale, bring those elbows together as you round the upper back, coming all the way into your forward fold. Inhale, we lengthen halfway, and then we'll plant the palms. Keep your gaze forward as you step it back. Option to take a vinyasa, or however you want to make your way to down dog or any resting position of choice. That concludes our warm-up. So just checking in with the breath, maybe getting a drink of water, toweling off. Well, time to move into our peanut butter section. So we're going to come to the top of our mat. Both peanut butter and jelly start out at the top of our mat in mountain pose, which reminds me, how did that go? I had a student bring me a hand sanitizer with a peanut butter and jelly rinse. Yes, a student gave it to me this morning. She goes, I saw it, and obviously I had to bring it to you. Whoa, that looks like a toy for you. No. It's not a toy, it's mama's. All right. So as we come here, I choose authenticity over approval. So inhale, I choose authenticity. Exhale, over approval. All right, so we're going to start out with eagle legs. So we're going to bring our right leg on top. So we might just have that toe there, or if there's more space, we can start to wrap that foot around the calf. But we bring our weight back into our heel, just like chair pose. And then once we have our legs set up, this is going to be the weird part. We're bringing those hands behind the head, interlacing the fingers. So I'm like, it's like eagle pose, but the eagle has sunglasses on, right? So we're going to sit back into this as we sit back into our heel. So it's awkward because in eagle pose, we start to shift forward because our arms in front of ourselves, but this way we can open up more through the chest. Take one breath in here. As we exhale, straighten the legs, but keep them crossed. And then we're going to bring those elbows together as we round the upper back, coming all the way into our forward fold. Once we have our forward fold, we can stay with the hands behind the head because you can bend the knees as much as you like. You might bring the hands down, or if you want to play, I'm going to show you a cross-legged crow pose. So our ankles stay crossed, but our knees separate. So we have our hands down, and we push into the mat to find lift off here. And keep in mind when we're doing crow pose, we're drawing that energy forward like a conveyor belt. So it is awkward to get into, but because it draws that towards that center line of the body by having the ankles crossed, it typically feels a little bit more solid once the toes are lifted, right? We just have to get there. But you really have to separate the knees as you have the ankles crossed. So they really separate to be able to find lift. And if it's not working today, no worries. It's just an add-on. Take one more breath in. Exhale. And then step the right foot forward. We're coming into warrior 3. So you might have your hands down or on blocks for a supported version. Otherwise, choose any arm variation that you like. I like to have my hands onto my hips as a reminder to keep them square. And I try to bring my weight forward so that I'm not sitting back into the heel, so we feel that extra lift in the core. Can also lift up your quad muscle to feel even more engagement. And then we flex through that left foot like we're placing a big footprint on the back wall. One more big breath in. As we exhale, big step back into our runner's lunge. From our runner's lunge, we're coming to Skandasana to the back. So this will start to feel pretty familiar. And then we face the back. Once we face the back, we're moving into wild things. So bring that left foot behind as you come onto the ball of the foot, lifting up those hips. Nice. And as you exhale, left hand lowers, left knee lowers for gait pose. So we're facing the mirrors, and left arm reaches up, maybe behind the head. Breathing into that side body. One more breath here. Exhale, lower that left hand down. So we're in our supported side plank. That's the first option. Or we can come into that fallen triangle pose by extending the left leg out. If we are in fallen triangle pose, we're bending that back knee and stepping over. If we're not, we're swinging that leg forward. And then we come into that almost one-legged mountain, but really we're just lifting up the left leg to go into our other side. So it's an infinity flow. So bringing that left leg over the right, coming into those eagle legs. So maybe the big toes there. Maybe you start to wrap that foot around the calf. And then we bring the hands behind the head, opening up, leaning back. Keep sitting into your heel. That's the hard part, really scooting your seat back at the same time. It's kind of like a brain game at the same time. But we look cool, so that's what's important, right? We look like we're just lounging. Take one more breath in. Exhale, straighten through the legs. And then we'll bring those elbows together as we round the upper back, coming all the way into our forward fold with those cross-legged. Option to keep those hands there or bring the hands down. Maybe play with our cross-legged crow pose. So we would separate the knees, keeping those ankles crossed. See if we can find lift off there. You have to shift forward like you're looking over the ledge, right? You're not going over the ledge, you're just looking, you're just checking it out. All right, one more breath in. Exhale. And then we step the left foot forward, coming into warrior 3. So it could be a supported one, wherever you want your arms to be. Maybe they're at heart center, maybe they're on the hips, maybe they're interlaced behind you. Think about bringing that weight forward and really flexing through that foot so all 5 toes face down so our hips are square. Yes, nice adjustments. Big breath in. Exhale, big bend in that left knee like you're lowering down into an elevator for that runner's lunge. And then we move into Skandasana towards the top of our mat. We face forward as we come into our wild thing. So bring that right foot behind, coming into the ball of that foot as you lift up those hips. Nice. And then right hand comes down, right knee lowers for gate pose. So we're reaching that right arm overhead as we lift up the torso, bringing that hand behind the head. Inhale. As we exhale, bring that hand to the top of the mat, coming into your supported side plank or fallen triangle pose. For in fallen triangle pose, we bend that back knee, we walk it over. Otherwise, we swing that leg as we bring ourselves to our mountain pose. And that's our peanut butter. So take a moment just to check in with your breath. All right, how are we doing? Good? We ready for some jelly? Yes? Okay. Draw those shoulders up, back, and down. I choose authenticity over approval. All right, so it's very similar feeling to how we started before, only we're coming into our one-legged mountain for sure. So we're gonna bring our right knee in towards our chest as we reach the arms up overhead. And again, just like in our warm-up, thinking about drawing it towards the center line of the body as you find a focal point or drishti to focus on. Inhale. As we exhale, come into that figure 4 chair. So you can sit it back into your heel as you reach the arms forward. Hand could be at heart center, our arms onto the leg. Maybe if you want to play with more arm balancing stuff, you might have your blocks here. And you might start to tuck your leg into your armpits for a flying pigeon. So you would start to shift forward and then push the blocks away. And 1 second counts. just like if your foot is fully lifted off the mat in any capacity, it counts, okay? You take one more big breath in. As we exhale, step that foot back for our runner's lunge. And then we're moving into a twist. So right hand is down, left arm reaches up as we stack shoulder on top of shoulder. Let's lower that back knee down, and we'll lift up the torso for exalted, reaching that right arm overhead. Big breath in. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down. As soon as those hands plant, push into the mat to bring those knees together. And we're coming into our thread the needle, so reach that right arm up. We'll tuck the shoulder underneath. Once we have our set up here, go ahead and extend through that left leg, maybe lift it up or have those toes onto the mat. We're going to take it to the outside of our right leg as we continue to tuck that shoulder under and come onto our backs. An option to come into our bridge pose, or maybe you want a full wheel pose. That's always a nice option too, if you want to bring your hands by your ears to come up into the full wheel pose. Otherwise, it'd be like, no, I'm good. I'm good with bridge. Nice. Take one more breath here. Exhale, slowly lower it down 1 vertebra at a time. And we'll bring those knees into our chest as we start to rock and roll all the way up to our standing. And we'll set up for our second side for this portion. So once we find our mountain pose, go ahead and bring the arms up overhead. Left knee draws into chest as we come into our one-legged mountain, really pushing the floor away as we flex through that foot. Nice. Inhale. Exhale, moving into that figure 4 chair, that funky chair. So bring it above the knee as you sit back into your heel, finding any arm variation that you like. If you wanted to play with that arm balance, maybe you have your blocks there. Maybe you don't. Come into that flying Pigeon pose, where you could tuck the leg into the armpits and shift forward. Jackson, you lost your mat. Awesome. He does that to me all the time. Exhale, step it back for your runner's lunge. He will move. Oh, this is yours? To your twist. Left hand down, right arm reaches up, opening up towards the mirror side. And then lower the back knee down as you lift up the torso for our exalted, reaching that left arm overhead. Inhale. On our exhale, cartwheel those hands down. Bring the knees together, and we'll come into that thread the needle. So left arm reaches up this time as we open up towards the paintings. Tucking that shoulder underneath. And once that shoulder's underneath, go ahead and extend through the right leg. Toes can be down or up. And then we take that leg to the outside of the left as we continue to tuck that shoulder under, coming onto our backs. Option to come into our bridge pose or our wheel pose from here. Big breath in. Exhale, slowly lower it down and just hang out here for a bit. Maybe find a little bit of a rocking motion on the back. That concludes our jelly portion. So just getting a little bit of a break in before we bring these together, because it is the best part of the practice, in my opinion, where we bring the two sequences together. Our peanut butter and jelly time. I feel the enthusiasm in the room. Everyone's like, yeah, let's take a nap. When you're ready, we will make our way to our top of the mat so that we will do this one more time. So as you come here, I choose authenticity over approval. Again, I choose authenticity over approval. All right, let's bring that right leg on top. And then we'll bring those hands behind the head for this very cool eagle pose. Inhale. Exhale, straighten the legs as we come into our forward fold. You can stay in that forward fold, or maybe we play with that arm balance. And then right foot will come forward as we come into warrior three. Whatever arm variation that you like. Big bend in that knee as we slowly lower all the way into our runner's lunge. And then we're moving into Skandasana to the back of our mat, so we face the mirrors. And then we face the back of the room. So we're in a runner's lunge. Wild thing, bring that left foot behind as you come onto the ball of the foot. And then left hand lowers, left knee lowers as we come into our gait pose, reaching that left arm overhead. Breathing to that side. Exhale, left hand comes to the back of the mat. Option to come into your fallen triangle pose or stay in that supported version of side plank. If you're in fallen triangle, bend that back knee, take a step over, or swing that leg forward. Left knee draws into chest, arms up overhead. If we're in jelly, left side. Exhale, finding that figure four chair pose. Set it back into your heel. Stepping it back for our runner's twist. So left hand down, right arm reaches up. Lower your back knee, lifting up the torso for exalted. And then we cartwheel those hands down. Knees come together for our tabletop position. Left arm is going to reach up as we open up towards the paintings. And then tuck that shoulder underneath for thread the needle. Extending through the right leg, we bring that leg to the outside as we tuck that shoulder under, coming onto our backs. Bridge pose or wheel pose, yogi's choice. Big breath in. Exhale, slowly lower it down. Knees come into chest. And we rock ourselves all the way up to standing, which means the first side is done. All right, coming to the top of the mat. Now left leg is on top. Hands will come behind the head. Leaning back into those hands as we open up. Exhale, straighten those legs and come into your forward fold. Stay in that forward fold or maybe take that little crow. And then left foot steps forward for warrior three. Big bend in the knee, soft landing all the way to your runner's lunge. Skandasana to the back. Face the back, setting up for your wild thing. So bring that right foot behind, coming out of the ball of the foot. Nice. And then right hand and right knee come down. Gait pose. We're facing the paintings this time. Right arm reaches up overhead. And then bringing that hand down the back of the mat. Stay in that supported side plank or extend that leg for fallen triangle pose. If you're in fallen triangle pose, bend the back leg, take that step over, or we swing that left leg to the back, and then right knee comes into chest, one-legged mountain, arms reach up overhead. Exhale, figure four chair. Sit it back into that heel. Nice. Step it back, runner's twist. Right hand is down, left arm reaches up as we open up towards the paintings. And then lower your back knee down as you lift up the torso for your supported exalted. Exhale, cartwheel those hands down. Knees come together. And then right arm reaches up, Lionel. As we thread the needle, bringing that arm underneath. Once that's tucked under, we'll extend through that left leg. Oh, thank you. And we'll bring that leg to the outside as we continue to tuck under, coming onto our backs, where we either move into our bridge or our wheel pose, lifting up. Big breath in here. As we exhale, slowly lowering it down. You did it. From here, just kind of windshield wipering the legs, so you might take a wider stance, maybe bring the arms out to the sides. And then we're going to come into a reclined pigeon pose. We're going to bring our right ankle to meet our left knee. We can gently press to the inside of that knee. Or maybe we lift up that foot. We can find a bind by interlacing underneath the knee or across the shin, or we might place a block underneath that foot just to have a little bit more elevation. And if you're in that bind, you might start to rock along the spine here. You might use your elbow as leverage to draw that knee further forward, breathing space into that outer hip. Two more breaths here as we inhale. Exhale. Big breath in. And exhale. So we'll release that if we have the bind, but keep the figure four legs. Interlace the hands behind the head as the elbows come out to the sides. And with our foot down and our head down, that's our inhale. As we exhale, we're lifting. Maybe we bring it to where our elbows touch foot and knee as we bring it to center. And then we exhale, we lower it down. Inhale. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift. Inhale, lower. Exhaling for 5. For 4. 3. 2. And 1. And then we'll bring the arms down by our sides. We can walk that left heel in closer to the body and come into a bridge pose with this hip opening as we lift up one vertebra at a time, tucking those shoulder blades under. One more big breath in. Exhale, slowly lower it down one vertebra at a time. And then we can bring the arms out to the sides as we let those legs fall over towards the left side or towards the mirrors, coming into a spinal twist. We might be gazing past those right fingertips, just allowing the body to surrender into the floor and into the mat. Take one more big breath in. Exhale. And then let's bring our gaze and our legs back to center. We can unravel them, maybe give them a little squeeze before we set up for our second side, where we'll bring our left ankle this time to meet our right knee, gently pressing to the inside of that knee, if that might be plenty, or finding your version. So maybe that's placing a block underneath the foot or finding your bind. Maybe you're rocking along the spine here. If you're in that bind, maybe you're using that elbow as leverage to bring that knee further forward. Two more breaths as we inhale. Exhale. Big breath in. And exhale. So we'll release that. We're going to keep our legs in that figure four as we bring the hands behind the head, interlacing the fingers. And again, head and foot down, that's our inhale. Exhale, we bring it to center. Inhale, we lower. Exhale, we lift. Inhale, lower. Exhale, lift for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Nice. And then we'll bring those arms down by our sides. Palms will face down. Maybe bring that foot in closer towards your body. And then we'll lift up those hips coming into this variation of our bridge pose. One more big breath in. Exhale, lowering one vertebrae at a time. Bring those arms out to the sides and let the legs fall over towards the right or towards the paintings coming into your spinal twist. Maybe gazing past your left fingertips here. And allowing yourself to fully surrender, fully let go into this space. One more breath in. Exhale. And then we'll bring our gaze and our legs back to center. We can give them a nice big squeeze, just kind of checking in, seeing if there's anything else that you need to feel complete in your practice today. Otherwise, the next place we'll come to will be our final pose of Shavasana, our final relaxation. So you can extend those legs out in front of you, letting the feet fall freely to the sides, arms coming down by your sides with palms facing up. And as you come into this final shape, see how much space you can take up on the mat. Our practice is a reflection of our lives off the mat. So the idea is that if we take up space here, we take up space once we go out into the world. And then have a moment of gratitude as you come into this final space for just showing up to your mat for you, for putting in all of this hard work, and for this feeling that you created, which is so awesome. And be proud of yourself because you did an amazing job. Be proud of the others that joined you, providing you their encouragement. I don't approve of whatever he's doing. Okay, I'll fan you. He's a now. It takes it a little bit too far, you know. Although, is this the weekend that you start licking people, Jackson? Oh, that is next weekend, isn't it? Sorry, I was getting excited. And also know that I'm so proud of you for all the hard work that you put in, for showing up to your mat today. Please know that all of that effort never goes unnoticed. So now just let your breath be soft. Let your body be still. You made it. You deserve it. So now, just be. Thanks for the help. Start to deepen your breath. Drawing your arms up overhead, getting a stretch from your fingertips all the way down to your toes as you awaken to this new body. And then bring the knees into your chest. Give them a nice big hug as you roll to your side in your fetal-like pose. Our pose for new beginnings. I choose authenticity over approval. Take this feeling with you as you leave the mat. That is when our true yoga begins. When you're ready, we'll meet in a seated position of choice. Hands will come to heart center, our Anjali Mudra, as we tuck our chin under. And we'll close our practice. Namaste. Yay.